All right, everybody, welcome to Icon Era. Yes, 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 yes. Welcome to the room. All right, let everybody just take a quick second and tell me where you're calling in from, where you're based.
I can go first.
Yeah.
Calling in from Maryland, and I am actually from here. I haven't moved yet, but yeah, I've been here all my life, and I'm so grateful that today feels like the first day of spring.
Yes, I hope for that. It's coming. That is coming really officially in like 10 days. 10 days is
Nice.
the So good. Oh, what's happening? Pilar, where are you calling in from?
Um, Midland, Texas.
Midland, Texas.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous a lot of times, actually.
I had the
Like,
funniest thing that I saw when I was in Texas. I was in Austin doing a retreat like a couple years ago, and I saw a man pulling a barbecue, like a big smoking machine, behind his pickup truck. Huge. Like, I don't know if there was a full pig in there, and just pulled right into a gas station. And I was like, it's actively on fire.
everything
That's
is,
it.
yeah, the drinks, drinks are too big for a child. The
For a
plates are too
child.
big. It is actually for adult. I mean, there's some good things about it. Everything's bigger in Texas, especially the pride. That's the good.
Yeah,
I love how people feel pride
yeah,
about
I
that. So.
agree. I was like, oh, it's cool here because it's not like we're American. It's like we're Texan. There's something about that. It's like more, more like it's different. It's a different kind of thing. I like
Yeah.
that. Andrea, where are you at,
Uh,
girl? I know where you are, but tell the
I
people.
know. Coming here from Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska. Yeah.
Alaska, and how is
It's
the spring
cold.
coming there?
It's cold. We got dumped on over the weekend, lots of snow, and we're back into minus temperatures this week. I just am like, this is unheard of here. It really is. Yeah, so crazy.
Been a really, really, really cold winter for everybody. Even here in Costa Rica, we're getting like really big cold fronts. It just kept coming through. And when I first moved into this house, we have a fireplace, thank God. But I'm like, we're putting the fire on and got my sweaters on and shorts and or sweatpants and everything. I'm like, what the heck? So if it's reaching all the way down here, the north is feeling it.
Oh,
Et
yeah.
yeah. Esty! Hello, hello. Where are you calling in
Uh,
from, girl?
So happy to be here. I'm in New Jersey and it is the first day of spring. We did have a blizzard 2 weeks ago and it's about to snow again next week. So we're literally in between weathers, but we're taking it one day at a time.
One day at a time. That's literally all we can do. That's life.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it one day at a time with a good outfit. Hey.
Yes.
That's what we can do. Oh, ladies, thank you so much for being here. Big shout out for anybody watching the replay or watching this in the future. And I just want to open this space by asking you, what do you think about when you think of iconic or icon? Like, what does it mean to you in your head? Like, what do you think? Anybody want to share anything? I really think of like this like essence. I think Marilyn Monroe is one of my favorite examples. Amy, did you want to say something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say like a star,
that's okay.
and like iconic. I guess like I think that was like the first word that came to my mind, right? And then I also feel like it's just this energetic, magnetic presence that this person has.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just the through and through of like feeling confidence all the time
Yeah, yeah,
and knowing like who the fuck you are.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Big authenticity piece there for sure. Knowing who you are, and that's what we're going to talk about. That's why like this identity work kind of piece just ties in so well with fashion and with personal style more than fashion as an industry, but like personal style, how you like to present yourself, how you feel in your clothes. Like, how am I dressed today? I've got my purple dress pants on. I got my favorite vintage silk blouse because I'm here. I'm showing up in a way that makes me feel empowered, right? I feel professional. I feel put together. So one of my favorite examples, like I said, of iconic, like someone who I think of being iconic is Marilyn Monroe. They sent an email out about this. But the interesting thing and the reason I focus on her above all these stars, because a lot of people think about being iconic as kind of being like celebrity power. And
Hmm.
so, and that's fine. That, and there is an element to that. And there's like this part of, I want every woman to feel magnetic and charismatic and powerful so that you can step into the life and service of your dreams. Like that's really, really like what my mission is here with this work specifically. But Marilyn Monroe is so interesting because she was able to turn it on and turn it off. So there's this like interview that she does that with someone. I can't remember if it was a video I saw or if I read this, but she was like they're walking around in New York City and nobody recognizes her. She just looks like a normal girl, right? And she turns around to the journalist and she says, "Do you want to see it?" And they say, "Yeah, sure. What are you talking about?" And all of a sudden, she shifted her energy, and everyone around her suddenly recognized her as Marilyn Monroe. Like
Hmm.
that is power. There is power there. And it's not there's a lot of nuance around this. This is not about like manipulating other people's anything like that. It's literally about having the mastery of your own energy, of your magnetism, of your charisma to like it's an essence, right? It's like the essence of who you are in your most powerful state. There's so many versions of us and I love talking about archetype work and that kind of stuff. But really, this is about that bold version of you that you present to the world. So it's like your identity, presence, and expression are all aligned, and people immediately feel who you are. And
Hmm.
so in my advertising for this workshop and stuff, I was saying, like who are you? What I want you to feel like when you enter a room, you have the attention or you have not just the attention because that has like its own dark shadows of our younger selves and all these things, but it's like you can hold presence. It's like absolute presence.
Hmm.
So it's not about fame or perfection really, but it's about clarity in who you are. What up, Raya? Thank you for being here. It's about clarity and embodiment, okay? Embodiment is a word that gets tossed around a lot these days in the spiritual circles, and it kind of for me, it has sometimes loses its meaning, but it's so important. It is really that you are living what you are, that what you believe. You are living your practices. You are living your essence. That everything is aligned. All right. So, okay, how this is going to work today, we're going to go into a little meditation to open up our space to get us all dropped in together. And then we'll do a little bit of identity work, okay? And I'll kind of explain to you a little bit about what identity work is. We'll take a little 5-minute break and then we'll come back for the styling part. All right. And then at the end, I'm going to share a little bit about House of Icon with you, which is the new program that I'm launching, which is going to go in super deep into this and a whole bunch of other things. But that will be at the end. Okay. So are y'all ready for a little meditation? Get us warmed up, dropped in. Yeah. All right. So finding yourself a seat. And if you haven't worked with me before, you don't know meditation is a huge part of everything that I teach because nervous system regulation, am I right? That's right. Okay, so we're going to regulate a little bit so that we can prepare our hearts to open. So just finding a comfortable seat where you are, taking a deep breath in through the mouth and exhale through the mouth, sorry, deep breath through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Letting go of anything that you came into this room with this morning. Letting go of any feelings of fear, doubt, unworthiness, anything like that, and opening the heart up for expansion. So just starting to slow the breath. Slowing the breath down, starting to feel into your own heart and your own body. On your next inhale, see how slow you can make it and see how you can follow the breath as you rise from the root all the way up to the crown. And as you exhaled through the nose, just slowly relaxing back from the crown to the root. So using that visual, we'll take 3 breaths there. And even just slowing the breath down just starts to regulate the nervous system, bringing us into this parasympathetic state so that we can make better decisions, and that we can feel our truth, and we can feel our own charisma and magnetism and joy. So I want you to bring your attention now to the heart center, imagining a light there. Whatever color appears is the right one. So now with your attention on your heart and the color, you can just let the breath rise and fall. And with each breath, imagine this center of your heart expanding. So just expanding this color, expanding it until it's completely surrounding you, and your aura or your electromagnetic field is completely encompassed with your own heart essence. And you're just wrapped in the sweetness and the compassion of your own loving heart. And let it breathe. Let yourself feel the pulsing of your aura. Your heart space just pulse with the breath for a breath or two. And from your heart, feeling your own essence of authenticity, of truth, of your magnetic essence as a woman, coming from our beautiful feminine nature. And letting it soften your body. Let it soften your mind. Let it open this space of clarity and sweetness and care for yourself. And from this space, I want you to visualize yourself. It can be your higher self, or it can be the version of you that exists now. And just being the most magnetic version of you. What would life be like if you were standing in your highest magnetism? What would your relationships look like? What would your business look like? Would there be more ease? If you truly felt your empowered, iconic nature on the day-to-day basis, how would it change how you live? And what part of you is already there? And just taking that moment to let those questions roll around from this centered space. And taking this moment to offer gratitude for your heart, for your spirit, for the fact that you're in this room, making this decision to step into the next level version of who you are meant to be. And we aren't meant to do it alone. Feeling the community around you and the sisterhood of other like-minded women, letting that also warm your heart. And moving from this heart-centered place, taking the energy in your mind and moving it down towards your sacral chakra. So just below the navel, over your womb space, your center of creativity, of femininity, of the inner waters, of your sensuality, of your sexuality, of your fullest expression. And taking a moment to think about how you feel fully expressed. Where in your life do you feel really aligned? And then where are those pieces that are just like ready to catch up, ready for some attention? Ready for some intention. Now let's let all of that go. All of the thoughts, all of the ponderings, let everything go and come back to the breath. Slowing it down. You can inhale for 4 and exhale for 8 if that helps you with the counting. And that long exhale just helps to put us into a really relaxed state. Telling the body that it's safe, that you are safe to be you. And take a couple breaths here in silence. Letting the warmth of your own essence wrap around you like a giant hug, the essence of your own heart, the desires for service, for love, for the way that you dream your life to be. Surround yourself in that feeling right now. Slowly coming back into the space. You can stretch your neck out or rub your thumb and first finger together to create some heat and friction, some tactile sensation. And if you want to write anything down that's come through in the meditation, you can go ahead and do that. Sometimes those are the places that the magic really, really happens, when we're still. If I didn't take stillness, I'd go crazy. Right. They'll give you a second there, and I'm going to pull up my share screen. All right. All right, so welcome in again to Icon Era, regulated edition. So, my story, some of you know me well, and some of you don't know me so well. So I'm going to give you a little bit about my backstory about how I ended up here doing this thing right now. So I grew up in an evangelical Christian home. I had a really strong relationship with Jesus as a child. I really believed in that idea of unconditional love. And I wanted to be a missionary doctor when I was a teenager. That was my first dream. So I went to university, studied kinesiology as my undergrad, and very quickly realized I didn't want to study that, and I didn't want to be a part of the church anymore. There was a whole bunch of things, and if you know, you know. So I stepped away from that life and into my academic life. So once I decided I didn't want to be a missionary doctor anymore, I was kind of switching around my major. I switched from kinesiology to biology, and at that time, I realized that other people wanted to be a doctor a lot more than I did. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I don't want to do this. I gotta go. And I was taking a psychology class at the time, and I was like, I love this. Like, I love studying the human mind and learning about why we think. I don't need to learn about bugs and plants right now. Like, I want to learn about people. So I finished my degree with the intention always to get my doctorate. I wanted to be a psychology professor. That was my dream. Not a therapist, a psychology professor. I always have loved to teach. Always, always. It's been my passion and my calling. So finished my undergrad and decided that I would take 6 months and go move to Vancouver. And I was born and raised in a little town called Windsor, Ontario, on the border of Detroit. Super blue collar, super, salt of the earth people, really lovely, but not a lot of fashion, not a lot of dreaming, So I moved away to Vancouver and was working in a restaurant and quickly found myself on the fringes of the fashion scene. So started helping my friend build a couture collection. I walked runways as a model. I started styling photo shoots and video shoots and going to the Vancouver Fashion Week, sitting front row. Like, I don't even know how it happened. Boom, there you are. Suddenly you're there. And something for me being so tied in and connected to the fashion world really made it felt very vapid. It felt very soulless. And I could see the other models, how people were being treated and things. And there's a lot of beauty and a lot of creativity, and there was a lot of darkness to it. So I decided I wanted to go back to university. That lasted about 1 semester. And then I started traveling. And in my travels, which I thought were going to last about a year or so, I ended up for almost a decade doing this cultural exploration of the world and just really being an observer of things, being an observer of myself through different places that I would go, being an observer of culture, being an observer of all of these things. And I look at it now as my period of collecting evidence. Collecting all these things, all these experiences, all this wisdom so I could bring it into my being. And along this path, I found my yogic path and I found the Red Road. And so these two aspects of spirituality, the yogic path, I'm a 500-hour trained yoga teacher, trained teachers, and also the Red Road is the indigenous way of wisdom. So this is the way of the tribes, of connecting to nature in a different way, of a different kind of prayer. And I came back to my spiritual grounding after many years of being borderline nihilistic and feeling like, okay, I know how to pray again. I can say these words and I can weave this in. So the past 5 or 6 years of my life have really been doing this work with women and doing more of like spiritual work, and sharing the lessons that I'm so grateful to carry from both of those traditions. And last year when I turned 40, I was like, fuck this, I'm bringing fashion back into my world. Something happens when you turn 40 and then you're like, I'm doing exactly what I want. And so I started to do research on interweaving these two things together. And lo and behold, this is a whole field of study. Fashion psychology is a real thing. There's a lot of evidence to support the fact that you can use the way that you present yourself to change who you are. It is this super tangible, feasible thing that you can see, that other people can see, and you have control over, that you are able to influence and affect your identity and your self-concept. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. So fast forward, I've been like studying identity work and looking into and going back to the theories that I studied when I was in university, Erickson's theories and things like that, and seeing how they apply now to my new brain and to my more open eyes, and seeing how this can really help people and help women to step into their power. And that is really the through line of all of my work for all of time. It's like, how do I get women to really stand in their power? Women are amazing. Y'all, we are directly connected to God. We have a womb. We have an oracular nature. We have the ability to divine all of these amazing things if we are in our center, if we are. So My own experiment with this identity work piece was I went through a breakup in a couple years ago, 2023 or 2024, and at that point I was living in a beach town, dressing pretty sporty, just wearing beach clothes kind of thing, not super stylish per se, of course when I went out and stuff, but I went to Mexico after the breakup. I went into Spanish school and I decided I was going to dress more feminine. I started buying skirts, I started wearing long coats and like different things and really, really experimenting with changing my style to be the woman that I want to be. So, how does she dress? She doesn't wear booty shorts all over the place, that's for sure. And that's what I was doing. So I changed that and I changed all of the ways that I want to be. If I want to meet the man of my dreams, like how do I want to present myself to him? If I want to be the best teacher I can be, how do I present myself to you? How do I present myself to myself? So it worked. And now I have a fabulous collection of lady clothes. And it truly changed my self-concept. It truly changed how I perceive myself. So coming back to you as the hero of this story, this idea, all of this, and you having you guys in this room this is for those of you who are like ready for your next level. I believe that this work can be a transformational experience into a quantum leap. People talk about that. How do you do that? You merge the timelines, or you jump the timelines, right? So when you're talking about identity work, we see a lot of these things and a lot of coaching and a lot of therapy, everything looks at behaviors and actions, whatnot, and how do you modify those things to get where you want? Well, underneath the behaviors, the actions, the habits is the piece of identity. So if you can go underneath it all and change the concept that you have of yourself and who you are, the other things start to fall into place. So you don't have to just go and try and fix your habits all the time or try and fix your behaviors. It's like, how do you go in and see, I want to be this new version of myself? And how do I start that? So we all move through identity changes throughout our lifetime. It's normal. Erik Erikson coined the term identity crisis because he's saying that at some point in our lives, our identity does not match who we are anymore. And it doesn't have to be a midlife crisis. It can happen anytime. And actually the first one happens between 12 and 18. That's the really pivotal time period for identity formation. So you can think about that time in your own life and how was that for you? How did those years form who you are now? And is it working for you? So, dun dun dun, enter identity work, ba ba ba. All right. We're gonna do a little activity. Do you guys have paper and pen? I should have also put that in the email. Get a paper and pen. So, this is identity work is a lot about like journaling and doing this kind of work and self-reflection. Okay, so making 2 columns. So I'm going to put some music on so you guys can take 5 to 10 minutes to do this. And these are 2 columns. So the woman I have been and the woman I am becoming. So the invitation here is to look at these questions, and you can fill all the questions out for both of them, or you can do this however you want. This is your moment of time and reflection. So how does she dress? The woman you've been, the woman that you are right now, how does she dress? How does she speak? How does she lead? And what does she tolerate? Now the woman you're becoming, how does she move? How does she express herself? What are her values? How does she show up? Okay, so take some time with this. I'm going to put some tunes on here. And be honest. Be honest with yourself. do another 2 minutes. All right, maybe starting to wrap it up. Getting those final thoughts out. Obviously, you can keep writing if you're on a roll. On a roll. Right, so the idea here behind doing this kind of work is that we're using strategy to change who we are. Not just letting whatever is happening to us in our external circumstances dictate the person that we become. And I know all of you do personal growth work, and this is for you. This isn't for people who have never, done any of this work, because we want to go deep together. I love being able to go deep with you amazing women. And so what I have seen through time is that a lot of women take to heart like this personal growth work and do a lot of work on themselves, but then the amount of internal beauty that they have is not matching on the external. And like there's a way to take care of yourself on the outside that really matches that beautiful heart that you're cultivating, that beautiful spirit of service. And being able to step into, having those two things match, where your outside and your inside match. There's a lot of power there, right? So let's take a moment and take a look at the two lists, okay? So what I want you to look for between these two lists is the gap. Where is the gap? Where is where are things not lining up? So what part of you, the woman I've been, how does she dress? Are you dressing as your higher self? Maybe yes. Okay, check. How does she speak? Am I speaking as the woman I've becoming? Okay, maybe. Am I leading in that way? Oh, maybe not. Maybe I need a little bit of help with leadership. Okay, there's a gap. How does she express herself? Do you feel fully expressed? No? Okay, there's a gap, right? Looking for those places where current self and future self are not yet aligned. Not yet being the key word, because you can do it. taking those moments to just maybe circle or star the gap that you feel is presenting itself to you. And if anybody wants to share, you can unmute yourself and share what is coming up for you if you want, no pressure. But sharing is caring. And almost always people are feeling very similarly.
If can I share now or we still reflecting? Okay. Um, so I'm
Oh, I can't.
here recently. You can't hear me?
Wait. You're muted. Oh no, wait, you're not muted. It
Test,
says
test.
you're off the mute. Okay, try it again.
There, test, test. One,
Ah!
2, 3.
What is happening? Andrea, this happened with you one time. What's going on? Okay, hang on. No.
I mean, I can hear
Okay.
you.
I can hear her. You can hear her. Do you want me to leave and come back in? I wonder why I can't hear you. Everybody can hear
Test.
me okay? Can anybody else just pop off for a second and say something so I can see if I can hear?
Hello. Hello.
I can't hear you either, Amy. Oh no. Okay. Let me just try this for a second. Is your volume down?
Test, test. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Roya, is your volume down? No? Yes, that's exactly what's happening. I'm so sorry, Pilar, go.
Oh, it's okay. It was your volume?
It was my volume!
I've
Like
done
I
that
can't hear
before.
anybody.
I've done that before.
Welcome to my tech life. Okay, go. Go ahead. I would love to hear.
Yeah, I love that. I love this. I love how synchronistic this activity is because uh, I did I started doing a similar journaling reflection on who I am now and or becoming and who I have been. So I did this. I started doing that this past week. This journaling.
Wow.
Yeah, because I haven't. The reason is being, which it's relative to where I was gonna share about now is the reason being of is because right now, um, I, I feel like I am not who I feel like I'm in that gap, and yeah, I'm not who I've been. But I'm not quite fully her yet, but I am uh behaving more like her. Um, and the reason what called me to do this past week where I just gave myself a whole morning to do that. And I had to do a psychological trick on myself because I'm like I have an event coming up. I'm expecting to probably get more clients after this event. And I'm like, I need to be working on my business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told myself, this is working on your business. So they're gonna use your business time to do this. So it was a psychological trick I did to
Yeah.
myself to let myself just like chill and do it. Because I don't feel like I'm like that person. I have been the last, several months, and I started to feel experiencing this shift in January. Um, and it's created like a confusion of like who I'm serving right
Mm-hmm.
now because all everything that I'm putting out there in my messaging is I know it's very much resonating to the woman I'm becoming. And I'm like, okay, am I serving her right now? Am I gonna serve somebody who I'm becoming, or should it probably be somebody that I was like, some time ago, whatever time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, okay, well, then who was that? Because I feel like I don't remember who that was. And even though it's like that, not that long ago. So, yeah, I really like this activity. yeah, I'm not quite sure. Like I said, I feel like I'm in the gap. Like I'm not in that timeline, nor am I in that
Mhm.
timeline. I'm like somewhere in the middle. Um, yeah.
Good though. Like this exercise is meant to give you clarity around that. So like looking at those pieces where what isn't aligned. So maybe you can look at it and be like, I'm just not where I want to be at all. And that's okay because we go through these major shifts throughout our lifetime. For example, after you have a baby, after you go
Mhm.
through divorce or you retire, you have empty nest or a big change in career, moving, all of these moments in our lives that are big, big shifts require us to re-identify who we are.
Mhm.
So it makes sense if you're going through a big transition in your work, like trying to figure out who you're serving. And there's always this period where there's a lack of clarity around that as you're doing the digging, you know? And you can't see the house yet because it's not built. So doing that digging and you're doing it. So kudos to you for doing it, for being here and for doing it in your own personal life about just like trying to figure out who you want to become. So the idea here is that you're creating some kind of strategy or pathway towards that version of yourself and
I
spending
I
time
have
with
cl
her.
I have clarity of who I want to become. I created a vision board based on the essence of that woman. So it's more of just evaluating like I guess how where I am. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like how close are you to getting there, right?
Or
Uh-huh.
how much what am I already doing now that I am embodying her, and how much more could I just embody what I'm already doing?
Yes.
So then it would then it would everything else would just come to embody the other things I haven't embodied
Right.
yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not linear, right?
Yeah.
Like this, all this work, we're doing this work, we're moving and adjusting um and also it should be said that not it, most of the people in the world are never going to do this work. So you're already ahead of the crowd, you know what I mean? You're already ahead of the crowd. And yeah, it's and knowing that it's not linear. So there's moments where you're going to feel really like you're in your higher self and there's moments where you feel really not. Am I right? Like
Mhm.
those moments where you see yourself or you do something and the next day you're like, or says something to somebody and you're like, that is not who I want to be, right? That's not who I want to be. I want to be this version. And yesterday was that version. So today I'm just going to try and meet in the middle, you know, and not be super hard on yourself. There's a lot of pieces that can come into this too. Of course, like the story, the story that we're telling ourselves, and that really leans into the self-concept that we have of ourselves. And that's all mindset work. So I'm not going to get too much into that today, but it is a lot of the work that we've done in You're a Badass and in different areas of psychology where they're doing the mindset work to shift the beliefs that are creating the identity. So there's like all these pieces to it. And we're going to see if we can hack the system today a little bit with fashion. Let's hack the system. Anybody else want to share? Thank you, Pilar. Thank you so much for sharing. Else?
Or can you guys hear me?
Yes. Thank you for
Can you hear
solving
me
my
or
tech problem,
no?
Raya. I just had the volume down.
I know you well by now.
I know. Go ahead and share one.
Okay, so, hmm. So what is coming up for me is that I can identify this version of myself that I want to step into, but I also have the rebel in me that's like, no, don't want to be in a box. Be silly, be goofy, be wild. That's me as well. And like I don't like it. It's like, do we have to forfeit our like wildness just to be taken
No.
seriously? And I think there's somewhere in well with the societal conditioning of it all. It's like we think that we do think it on some way. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, to be taken seriously as a woman, you have to dress modest or you have to like you know what I mean to be so soft spoken, well
Yeah.
spoken and whatever. And it's like I do want to, and obviously I opened a studio, so it's like yeah, that version of me is coming out and is present, but I'm also so unserious. Like I want to be more unserious because it's like practices are both. And I think when people take it too serious, you know, we know what happens. And
Boring.
exactly. So it's like, how do I find this mixture of edge if that's really who I am? But there was, oh yeah. And then the other part of it was that, like, I know exactly what makes me look the most powerful, and I know what looks best on me aesthetic wise. But that's not always like what makes me feel the most activated every day,
Yeah,
you know, like sometimes,
right.
yeah, I want to look like this prim and proper business bitch type. And then some days I want to look like a messy effing artist and just be that version of me as well. So it's
Mhm.
just like a little confused because, yes, every day we do feel so different. And so that's why I'm so curious about all of this.
Mhm. Well, okay, so a few things. First of all, the pieces of you that are wild and free and liberated are part of your authenticity. And that is a really important part of, first of all, your messaging in your business, because you're going to attract people from a different place. And that magnetism is not going to be as strong if you take those pieces of yourself out. Like that there,
Mm,
and maybe you feel like the pressure around having to conform to living in a small town in Pennsylvania, but
yes.
really truly most of those women want to be as liberated and wild as you are, and you're going to
Mm,
attract them from a different place when you actually embody that and when you're being your true self. Because when we're not being our true self, we're hiding some part of us. Either there's like a weirdness there, or it can be shame if it's like coming from weird, you know, whatever moral backgrounds or any of these things. But being able to stand in like the version of you that you are and not waver, that's going to bring more people to you than trying to be what they want you to be and trying to fit
that's
into this box. And
valid.
then on the secondary piece, be all the different versions of you. I'm in the middle of formulating a photo shoot. I haven't done a photo shoot in a long time. I haven't been able to find anyone here in San Jose who's got a good studio. And I came up with 13 different women that live inside of me. So I'm
I
going to do
love
a
that.
photo shoot and have each one of those characters be part of it. Like, I'm sporty, I'm a wifey, I am a fashion designer, I'm edgy, I've got like my little raver vibe, I got my businesswoman vibe, I got the CEO. Take a moment and write down all the women that live inside of you and take a moment to honor them. So we can really talk about archetypes, which we will talk about in House of Icon. An archetype is going to be, we'll do a month of just focusing on archetypes because it gives you permission to be all those different versions of you. And if you are feeling like a messy artist that day, girl, embody that, and I guarantee you'll be more creative that day. You know,
I
different
love
things
it.
are going to come through. It's useful when you have a business to have like a CEO day in the week, and to have that day be the day where you kind of get all the administrative tasks done or whatever you need to do. And that day, dress like a boss bitch. Dress
Mm,
like the CEO version of yourself. And then the other days, you have more freedom to be a yoga teacher, to be an artist, to be a lover. You know, let all those pieces of you thrive, because when you do, that's where the magic happens. That's where you truly get to be yourself, because you're not hiding any parts of you. Does that answer it?
beautiful. It really does.
Okay, great.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm on a road trip right now and I'm literally shopping, but okay, that's besides the
I
point.
love you. But thank you for being here anyway.
Yes.
We love that for you.
I'm fully listening. I'm plugged in.
Great. That's all that matters to me. It matters that you're here. Thank you. Thank you for sharing and asking great questions. And does anybody else
Yes.
want to share? Amy, Andrea, Esty, Andrea. Go ahead.
I'll share. Yeah, this was interesting writing down these things because I do definitely feel like I'm in between.
Hmm.
Um, I only really had my grandma that had that essence and that confidence when I was young. She dressed up every day, every day. And I seen that. That was part of growing up, but didn't. And I always admired her, and on things like that, because she was very classy, a very classy lady. She ran a sorority house. So I remember sitting with her and just hearing all these stories of these ladies, and they were beautiful ladies that looked like they had the confidence and the beauty. But man, she would have told me stories like they couldn't properly sit down at a table and eat and things like that. So it was just kind of mind blowing to have a picture of these beautiful, confident women, but yet totally broken in so many other ways.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so she's really the only one that I had to really look up, look up to as a child. So as I'm sitting here looking at the woman I was very reserved, very quiet, very shy, never thought I was sexy. I mean, pretty maybe, but never really had that sensuality or sexiness like Roya has automatically, just never really had that, never embodied that at all, because I just didn't have that role model in my life, at all. So it's interesting that I look at that and then I look at like this woman I'm becoming where I'm like confident, bright, a leader. Um, I feel like I do have some style there, but not to the higher power of who I know I'm becoming. And so that's where that sensuality and sexuality, I know that's where my gaps are, just because I've never had that.
Hmm.
And so it's interesting to just see that, my silliness and my boldness and my creativity sides coming out, and again, really just stepping into embodying that part of me of who I'm becoming now.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah,
You are, Andrea. You are. You so
yeah,
are. And I love when you talk about your grandma. Andrea and I know each other really well. So do you still do that thing where you wear like dress up once a week for her?
yeah. Once a week for her, and
It's
usually
really
something in
special.
red, because
Yeah, red.
she loved red. She wore her high heels till she could no longer do it. She
Mhm.
said her driver's license and her high heels were the worst thing that she had to give up as she got older.
Bless her.
I know, right?
Bless her. I love it. Oh, beloved, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I
So
think,
really, yeah, embodying that not just once a week, but like daily, like
yeah.
you said, just
Mhm.
daily of all the versions of that woman that you are,
Mhm.
how you show up. So yeah.
Yeah, like even to the point of like if you're sitting in your house and you want to be comfortable, obviously, but like you can wear something that makes you feel good and is comfortable, like even being in your home, just for you. Just
Yeah.
for you. And that's the key thing. And I think a lot of women and especially mothers, we get in this thing of like everything's kind of just for everybody else. But it's like, can you do that for you? Can you do it to honor your grandma, but for you? And
Yeah.
those past generations, those women in the past really put more effort in than we do now, for sure. For sure. And you see, maybe they were more poor than we were, but they had their things that really they took good care of their things and really put an effort into taking care of their stockings and just like these little things. And like those can become beauty rituals too. I went through a phase where I was hand washing all my underwear. Don't even ask, but I was doing it. And it was like kind of a ritual, like it felt like nice. It's like just bringing like little bits of beauty into your life in the ways that you can, in the ways that are tangible. And that for me is why fashion or personal style is really such a tangible tool. As we do personal growth work, there's a lot of things that feel maybe woo woo or like, a little harder to grasp. But this is tangible. So knowing that like with a simple change of an outfit, you can change your mood, you can shift your nervous system state, you can empower yourself to make a great speech if that's what you want to do, or step into a photo shoot scenario. There's all these things, and nervous system regulation is at the heart of all of it too. It's like we're not going to get to that point of being these powerful well-dressed women. Like you said, there's a lot of women. This container specifically is not necessarily for that, or women who are really all dressed up on the outside and haven't done any personal growth work on the inside. That's a whole different thing. That's not my clientele. You guys who have like been here and doing the work on yourself, it's like all I want you to do is feel fabulous all the time because you're already fabulous. And you are, Andrea. You're so fabulous. And your grandmother was such a great example of that. And, even if she was your only example, she was a good one you know? Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful. Honoring the grandmothers. Thank you, grandmothers, all of our grandmothers. Okay, Esty or Amy, would you like to share before we get into some psychology?
I'll share. I do have to get going soon, so I'm
Okay.
sorry. I have to leave soon.
Okay, no
But
worries.
this exercise was super refreshing. Like I've done this before, but I haven't done this in quite some time. So I actually gave myself like 3 columns.
Okay.
and the third column was just like who I am right now, and like who I was before, like my like doing like the internal work for myself, and when I was single to like now I'm like in this different area of my life where okay, I know myself more. I have left a relationship, and now I'm like looking at all my clothes and my wardrobe, and it's like just changed.
Hmm.
And it feels like for me that, I mean, the gap that I'm like bridging between is just like giving myself like the time and space to connect to that brave, yeah, brave, stylish, colorful human being I once was.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and I guess overall this exercise was also like just a remembering and a reminder. And I mean, of course, I'm not who I was like 7 years ago, which, of course, in that time span, that's when my own style started changing. And I'm like super curious to know what you have to say in the realm of psychology when it comes to doing like the internal work for yourself. And then, like, I don't know, like the sense of magnetism is all internal, but how can I put it external?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
question. Yeah, that's the embodiment of it, right? So like
Right.
putting it into practice. Honestly, a little bit is how are you letting other people know?
Mm.
How are you communicating to other people around you that you are this amazing woman, you know? And it's not, and I say this bang on and bang on about it, it's not about like vanity or putting on airs or anything like that. It's literally, are you properly communicating who you are on the inside and projecting that out to the room?
Hmm.
Or are you hiding? Are you dressing small or are you dressing ridiculous to get attention? You know what I mean? Like it's just seeing what matches. Not that I don't mind a little ridiculous dressing every once in a while, but you know what I mean? It's like the ends of the spectrum. Are you being too small? Are you being so big that it's overpowering your own actual actual essence? You know, or are you dressing super sexy when that doesn't really align with like the work that you want to do? You know what I mean? Like it's just about
Hmm.
mismatches. Or are you not dressing sexy enough and then you don't feel sexy? You know, so I think it's about the matching. It's about the matching of the internal world and the external world. And you've done a lot of work, Amy. You know, you're on this path of personal growth. Been doing the work. You have a yoga practice, you have a meditation practice, and it's about stepping into the version of yourself. You already honor the version of yourself that has already made so many changes, right? You've made so many changes. You are doing good. And so how can you express through your body language, which body language is a huge thing for me too. We're not going to get to that here today, but that is a big piece of House of Icon. There will be body language coaching, and 95% of our communication is nonverbal. So 95% of your communication is how you're standing, how you're dressed, how your legs are crossed. Are you like this? Are you like this? Like all of these things, tone of voice is even considered nonverbal communication. So, how is your voice? Is it strong? Is it shaky? Is it too loud? Is it too quiet? All of these things are nonverbal cues. So, using the nonverbal piece of communication to transmit your essence. That's basically the gist of this work. Does that kind of make sense? Or do you have any more further question?
Yeah. I mean, that kind of answers like a little bit of what was on my mind, but I mean, overall, I'm just really noticing that I'm calling back an old version of myself, but a more mature, updated, leveled up version of myself.
Yes, level
Yeah.
up. Yes. Like going back to grab onto like some part of you that was really, really strong and powerful at some like before. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
exactly.
taking her, bringing her into the present, and then like really letting her be this grown version, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So doing that work to like remember who she is and to sit with her, you can do it in meditation. I actually went in in an energy work session to release my 20-something self because of the rebellion factor, Roya, because I feel sometimes there's this little rebel in me that causes trouble. Anyway, so she will forever live in my 20s. So I went in there to cut ties with her, and she looked at me and she was like, "You need me." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Don't you kill me off. You need me." I was like, "Okay, you will live another day." But it's like, because that version, that there's that moment of who we were before the bullshit, before all the extra programming came in, and that version of us has a very, very good, important use to us in this version of the woman that we are now. Maybe she had less fear. Maybe she had less fucks to give, you know? Like, and it's like a different version of how many fucks you have to give when you're 20 versus in your 40s or 50s. Their verse is different. But honoring those women that created, just like with Roy, with the different archetypes of how you dress, it's like the different archetypes of the women that you traveled through to become who you are now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
all
it's
right,
fun, you know? The idea of this work is that it gets to be fun too. I mean, I live in a place where there's a lot of spiritual growth work, and I see people get stuck in their shadow work, and it's not to bypass any of that. We need to do it, but we don't need to get stuck there. And we get to use mechanisms for personal growth that bring us joy. Dancing is a really good example of that, you know? And dressing gets to be fun. It gets to be a playful way that we're communicating with the world.
Just calling it all back into right now.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go do that right now because I do have to be behind the bar. So
Okay.
I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Even though I do have a uniform, I'm gonna add more style to
Yes,
myself today.
accessories, girl, accessories. And I'm gonna send out the recording of this. You can watch the second half is like more educational style work, okay?
Cool, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Joy.
You're so
Everybody,
welcome.
thank you. It
Mwah.
was a
Thank you
pleasure to
for
meet
being
you
here.
virtually.
Yeah,
Bye,
thank you for being
everybody.
here. Ciao, Amy. Esty, did you want to say anything? Did you want to share it all? Maybe she's there. Give you another second. Okay. If you come in and you want to say something and share, we would love to hear. I'm going to get into the little bit of psychology stuff. So, do you mind indulging my inner nerd? Can we nerd on psychology a little? I know Pilar wants it. Yes. Okay, good. And because we've shared a little bit longer, which I live for, I'll just tell you now, if you need to go at 12, the plan was that this would stick to an hour and a half. So we have about 20 minutes. It might go a little bit past, but if anybody needs to go at any point, of course. Of course. Share. Where is my share screen? Here we go. Okay, so we talked about that. All right, so I'm going to go over 3 different topics right now that are relevant. So switching gears, I'm going to go over these few things and then we'll take a little break and we'll come back to fashion, okay? So if you need to get up and shake or pee, then we're going to... So identity psychology, we're going to go over 3 things. Identity psychology, embodied presence, and fashion psychology, okay? So I'm just going to quickly go over these 3 things. I have a lot of notes, but I'm going to not say it all. I'm gonna not say it all because we can get so excited and go on and go on and go on and go on. But let's talk about identity psychology, okay? So they started studying this really in like the late 1800s, and another word for identity is self-concept. So this is the study of how people form, understand, and express your sense of self. Like, what does that mean to you? And obviously, as you evolve as a human, your mind evolves, your heart evolves, your actions evolve, you as a human being evolve, your self-concept should evolve. When we see people getting stuck in their lives, it's because their self-concept isn't evolving. Their identity isn't evolving. You see people sometimes in their 50s and they're the same as they were when they were a teenager. Same traumas, same issues, no work on becoming a better version of themselves, so they really get stuck in that space. This area of psychology studies how to move through those things, okay? So as you can see, these questions here are existential questions that come up through identity psychology. So who am I? What roles do I play in the world? And what do my beliefs about myself, how does that influence how I act and how others see me? Basically, existence. This is existence, am I right? So so your identity isn't fixed. So that's something that we need to like immediately address, is that identity is not fixed. The person that you were when you were born or the person you were raised as does not need to be the person that you are for the rest of your life. And it's actually would be a bit of a sad thing if it was, right? And we have to move through traumas, and we have to move through beautiful things and family stuff and grief and all of these things that form us into who we become. So there's a combination of personal experiences, social environments, values and beliefs, and the roles that we take on that affect how others respond to us and affect how we see ourselves. So Erik Erikson was one of the first psychologists to explore this on a really detailed way. So he has his several stages of life, and they each have their conflict. So when we're talking about identity, that's the 12 to 18 part of your life, and it's identity clarity versus confusion, role confusion. So in that phase of life, and this is different for everybody, and a lot of times kids don't have control at this time of their life. If they don't develop a strong sense of identity in that time, they have role confusion. And that's not just for kids, y'all. That is for all of us. And as I said, this was the psychologist that came up with like the identity crisis. So that can come up multiple times during our lives. I think that we as a society have a little bit of a negative idea of what an identity crisis is. I think it's actually a positive thing. It means you're outgrowing yourself. It means you're outgrowing the person that you were, and you're just not quite sure who you are yet. And so there's a lot, if you can come at this with a really empowered way, you can create the version of yourself that you want to become. That is, choosing with strategy, with being very mindful of your habits and your behaviors. It's like, who is this person? Who am I forming myself into? All right. So our self-concept drives our behavior. If someone sees themselves as a leader, creative, or a powerful woman, they will naturally begin to make decisions and express themselves in a way that enforces that identity. Okay, so that's why it's so important. We did that exercise right away. It's like, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a leader? If you don't, you're not going to be able to lead. But if you do, even if there is maybe a little bit of doubt there, then you're going to learn. And you're going to be able to move into that identity in a much healthier, much stronger way. There's like this thing my beautiful yoga teacher, Adi Shakti, says, which is just all the time, get curious, get curious, get curious. Always getting curious about what, first of all, yeah, we can ask ourselves like why we're doing these things, But more importantly, you can ask yourself why, you can address the things, you can go to therapy, you can do all of those things about the why, about the past. But honestly, for me, in my work here, it's much more important to go forward, to move forward, not to not address the things of the past, like we're going to be with that stuff, but like, who am I now? Who do I want to be? What roles am I playing, and how am I enforcing those things? So what we want to do is update the story of ourselves, and update the image that we hold on ourselves. So when identity shifts, behavior and expression follow. If you can actually look at shifting your self-concept, your behaviors will naturally follow. If I want to be a badass CEO, or if I want to invent a product and see it to success, and sell $1 million of this product, what in the world, if I want to stand in the power of that woman who's an amazing product designer, I have to now make my everyday look like one person who's an amazing product designer, because that is the identity I want to have. So naturally, I'm going to start doing the tasks and allowing the behaviors to follow that of that person. Okay, so embodied presence. This is when everything is aligned. Okay, and presence is the key. We know we can, talk about this on and on and on about how being present is honestly the most critical part. And I believe that as we are going deeper and deeper into this tech era, which we're well into, our ability to be present and be human is going to be the most valuable resource that we have. Where's your attention going? I've heard it said many, many times, and I believe it to be true, that we are in a war of attention. So where is your attention going? And that is going to affect the presence that you hold in the all right. So this means that your body, mind, and attention are all aligned in the moment. So the way that you stand, move, speak, make eye contact reflects how you actually think and feel. And there are times when we are not aligned where your body language or your tone of voice betray you. Am I right? The voice shakes a little when you're trying not to cry. Fiddling with the feet when you feel a little anxious, and people see that, and then they know. And they know that you're anxious, and then they know that you're trying not to cry, and that's okay, because honestly, that's the truth of the situation, is that's how you feel. I feel anxious, or I feel sad. All right, so the idea here is no performance, no disassociation, no overthinking. It's really the idea of being so present. And as leaders, as all of you are, oftentimes we feel like we are giving, maybe we feel very capable of giving our presence to others in a strong and impactful way. But what about how you're present with yourself? That's how why our meditation practice is so important, of course. But what about the little things through the day? I check myself on this because if I find myself daydreaming a lot, which I do, that's the disassociated part. La 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 la. Sometimes I live in a Spanish-speaking country. My Spanish is shady. If I don't know what people are talking about, all of a sudden I'm just like daydreaming about the next jacket I'm going to create for my brand. And then I come back and I'm like, oh damn, just disassociated pretty hard, you know? So really try not to do that. I'm definitely guilty. So practically, this shows up as the body, present, posture, voice, eye contact, congruent. So your body language and your words matching. Like I said, that's where you get betrayed if your body language and your words aren't matched, and the regulated nervous system. Okay? So these are very important. We talk about all of these things in House of Icon. We're going to do all the nervous system stuff, training on body language, because it's not just about putting on a great outfit, it's about actually wearing the outfit with your full self, with the fullness of yourself, okay? Also, I printed out my notes. I just love good old-fashioned paper. I'm like, I am not doing clicking around trying to find all this stuff. So when you see someone who's embodied in their presence, you perceive them as being confident, as being credible, as being grounded, even before they say anything. And that's where we're trying to get, is to get to there. When you perceive someone, maybe you can think of someone like Tony Robbins. Amazing speaker, so present. You watch him talk to his people in the crowd. He's so present. He's so grounded. He's so confident. He's so credible, right? He's super embodied. He's doing the things that he's speaking, and you can tell. There's no buts about it. And so that being, just a really good example of how to stand in your power. And I mean, he's got years and years and decades of personal growth work behind him that he's done on himself, and he's helped other people through. So this, like I said, this all happens when we're aligned. So in simple terms, embodied presence is your internal identity showing up in your external behavior. So you've created this self-concept for yourself. You know who you are. You have a relationship with God. You have people you're leading. You have a decent self-concept. Maybe there's some little voices telling you that you're scared. That's normal. They're always going to be there in my experience. You just have to do the damn thing anyway. And I'm sure you can imagine preparing this. And I've been studying identity work now for months, and I've been preparing not just this workshop particularly, but House of Icon for months. And I have had my own identity crisis because that's how it always works. Andrea, every time I'm like, I'm going to hold something on confidence, my confidence gets shook. If I'm here to hold identity work, my identity gets called into question. I also am in a relationship that is like the man of my dreams, and it's pretty new. So my identity changes now as just a woman in the world being independent to what do I look like as a partner? How do I want to be as a partner? That's really a shift that I'm navigating in my personal life right now. How do I maintain my independence and my strength and all of that and still show up as this soft feminine woman that I really want to be? That's not easy, but that's where I'm at. There you go. Okay, next up, fashion psychology. This, I didn't even know. And Pilar, you sent me some things on Instagram about this, and then I started nerding out so hard because I follow something called like the Fashion Observe or like fashion psychology or whatever on Instagram. And so it brings up all these things all the time. And they're real actual studies on people that people are now doing to see how fashion and psychology tie into each other. So, how does our clothing affect the way we think, feel, and behave? And the way that others perceive us. That's important too. Like I said, this is a conversation. We are having a conversation with the world based on how we present ourselves. All right. So these are super interesting stuff. So in practical terms, fashion psychology asks questions like, as you can see here, why do certain outfits make people feel more confident? Why do we associate certain clothes with authority, creativity, or professionalism? Obviously, that's a lot of social programming. How does what we wear change how people respond to us? And that's a fun experiment I challenge any of you to do. Play with it. Go out dressed completely different than normal. See how people react to you. How does clothing influence our own self-perception? Okay, so research in this field, it's called enclothed identity. Clothing doesn't just communicate identity to others, it also influences the wearer's mental state. So we feel different based on how we are dressing ourselves. So there's this thing called enclothed cognition, studied by psychologists Hajo Adam and Adam D. Galinsky, and their work showed that the symbolic meaning of clothing can affect attention, confidence, and behavior. So when people associate clothes with authority, so their experiment that they did was based on lab coats. Okay, so they had a normal person go in there just talking to people, and then they had someone put on a lab coat and go in and talk to people. And the perception of those people with the lab coat is they just assume that they're a doctor and they're professional and they know what they're talking about. It is that simple. Put on a lab coat. Like, what? All of a sudden you're a doctor? That is what's happening in the minds of the people, you know? And it also means that's how easy it is to influence others' perception of you. So we do this when we go into a job interview, right? You put on a great outfit so that you are perceived as being professional and competent and the right person for the job. But maybe we forget about that in the day-to-day life. And so the challenge I'm going to give you is to just start to bring that more into your day-to-day life. Not in a way that makes you feel overwhelmed or anything. I want this to be fun, please. Have fun with this. This is not meant to be one more stress on your life. But really have fun with it and see if you can shake up, you know, how people are perceiving you. All right. So, there's a few more theories here that I have, but we're gonna take a little 5-minute break, a couple-minute break if anybody needs to go to the bathroom, and then we'll come back and we'll go through some photos, talk about some styling tips. All right, where are we at for time here? Okay, I think we should be able to wrap in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, okay? And if anybody has any questions, I am here. You want to talk about anything that we just talked about? And it's a lot of information, but I like to weave this like information side in with the practical side, and everybody's brains get fed. We do the practical thing, the journaling, tangible, and then we let the mind be fed, and now we're gonna feed our creative side. All right, if nobody wants to take a break, keep going. Is that good? Okay, great. Okay, so ladies, you're a representation of God. Dress like it. Beyond how the humans perceive you, beyond what anybody thinks, and I mean, it's a little bit of a trepidatious thing to talk about this stuff because of course there's this aspect of like performance and people pleasing or just, you know, dressing a certain way to be liked. But that, I just want to be clear that that's not what this is about. I don't want you to dress in a way that is pleasing to other people. I want you to dress in a way that feels authentic to yourself. Okay? But I find it really interesting, and in my exploration, and like I told you my story of going from being in like high fashion world to, you know, backpacking and staying in hostels and then coming through and learning from the indigenous in different ways. It's like every culture that you go to, ancient and modern, there's this aspect of adorning. There's this aspect of, you see the ancient Egyptians with their beautiful crowns and their makeup and all these things. It's like it's ancient. It's a technology. When you go into a ceremony, for me, I sit in the peyote ways, and you'd wear your best dress, and you wear a long skirt. It's like what the grandmothers asked. And I put my beaded jewelry on and I present myself to God and for my prayer in a way that is representative of how I want to be seen by God. So how do you want to be perceived? By God, by humans, by yourself? And I think, I mean, when you are well dressed, you walk taller, you have more confidence, you have control over the way that people are perceiving you, which, if you're bringing consciousness to that, that's helpful. And I want you to leave here with some useful, practical styling tips. So that's where we're going here. So, step one, dress for your silhouette. Okay, so your body is unique. Every single person's body is unique. Do you ever trip out about that? Do you ever think about the fact that nobody looks alike unless there's an adult, like identical twins? Nobody looks like, nobody has the same body or the same boobs or the same butt or the same feet or any of that. That is insane. That is a testament to God's creativity. Because what in the what? So, one of the most fun things, oops, no. How did I do that? There we go. So one of the most fun things, regardless of how you view your body, hopefully you have a good relationship with your body, but it's playing with silhouettes. So oftentimes, most people's bodies are going to look better when we accentuate the waist. So that's like a big thing. We'll get into belts in a second. But you can see how I've chosen these images for specific reasons. So this one down here at the bottom, you can see how she's playing with these huge pants, okay? A tiny waist and then small on top. We're playing with the silhouette here, okay? We're playing with this balloony pants, but what I would never do as a stylist is put something super baggy on the top and just drown someone out. There are trends where people do these kinds of things. Stay away from the trends, my friends. Unless you really love it. If you love it, if you love the big baggy jeans, do it. But don't do it because other people are doing it. Okay? Here's a good example of this woman here of layering two looser things, but you're going to see she has sheer pants on, which give her legs shape. And so having this really loose top and essentially a loose bottom, but there's still shape given. And she also has heels on, which gives her legs length. Okay? This one here I really love because, yeah, go ahead, Andrea.
I'm not seeing pictures, and yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Do you guys see?
Yeah, no.
What? Okay, let me end the screen share and then try it again. One sec. No. Okay. Did you see on the last screen? Did you see my screen on the last things that I was talking about with the slides? No? How? Okay, hang on. Well, thank you for telling me that. Okay, hang on. Let me just play around with this for a second.
You could see them all down at the bottom of the screen, but it was just your main icon that you could see for your main picture. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I clicked on the wrong button here.
Yeah, it look like when you're working in Canva, you see the slide you're working on with
Uh-huh.
all the slides at the bottom, and it wasn't in presentation mode.
Okay.
There you go.
But wait. Okay, I have to go back into this then. Okay, presentation mode. My screen was all blurry. Okay, wait. Okay, it should work now. One sec. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, am my screen share working now?
We see your screen, but we just see icon error. There we go. I see identity shift now.
Okay, great. Okay, that's where we should be. Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, thank you, ladies. 100 years of using Zoom. Okay. Okay. All right. So now, okay, now we can have some more fun with this. Now that you can see what's going on here. Okay, so you see how the women with these different body types are kind of like playing with the shape of their body, right? So this one is the one that I was talking about with the big pants. So see how she's creating this really interesting silhouette of these really big pants, this big accentuated waist and hips, and then the top is small to balance it. Okay, so we're playing with these like balancing things. Another thing I like to do is see this one here is if you're wearing like a short skirt, it can be really nice to pair long sleeves with it and heels, you know what I mean? You're creating balance throughout the silhouette. And then the one that I was talking about here, this one is very loose. So that's what I was talking about. I was like, I wouldn't go loose all the way with everything, but this one is. But you see what's happened here is the visual interest, like you can see her legs through her pants. So it's creating these like streamlined bottom, even though it's loose and playful. And this one feels,
Sorry, the slide we see is the one where you had to do the pen and paper of 2 columns exercise.
what? Do you see me changing the screen right now? This is
No.
crazy, y'all. Okay. All right, all right.
Okay, we see it now. The dress your silhouette with
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we see the 5 pictures.
Okay.
It's slide 12 that we're looking at.
Yeah,
We see right now.
exactly. And just do you see it big now?
No, I don't see it as in presentation
It's
mode.
like the present thing isn't working. That's so weird. Okay, well, I'll just leave it here. I think that's better. At least you can see. So you can see dress your silhouette? Yeah, okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, great, because these are important. So, all right, so this is the one that I was talking about before with the baggy pants and the hips. We're playing with making the bottom look really big, so then you make the top look smaller. So we're playing with proportions. And this works differently with different body types, of course. I mean, know your body and know the parts of your body that you want to accentuate and maybe the parts that you don't want to accentuate. So giving yourself a waistline is almost always a good idea. You'll see this picture down here where she's wearing this really loose, playful outfit. That's what I was talking about with the sheer pants. So, it's not to hide we're never wanting to hide our body. We're just looking to create balance and shape. So all of these looks are really playing with the construction of shape. This one specifically like speaks to me because I love these kind of like extremes with like a little tiny top and then a really big bottom. It's the same kind of thing if you think like a ball gown, that really like small corset look and then this huge skirt. You're just playing with these proportions. This is the one I was talking about saying about wearing like a long sleeve. If you're wearing a short skirt and wearing like this long sleeve, can be a really nice way to like balance the silhouette. This look here, I love this. So she's wearing a really loose, baggy outfit, and then she's put this corset on top to give her body shape. You know what I mean? It kind of just brings everything in, ties it together in a really, really beautiful way. So and then this one again, I love this outfit is so nice. She's got these beautiful trousers on, and then this really nice fitted top to balance the shape. Okay. So if one piece is loose, general rule, you can always break the rules, but know them. So if one piece is loose, we want to balance it with something that's more structured. That's kind of the idea for creating silhouettes. So if you wear like a really big oversized sweater, maybe you're wearing that with like fitted pants, or you belt the sweater, creating a waistline. Again, like this one over here, really baggy, loose trousers, nice fitted top, or like I love to do like I have a big oversized neon blazer, pilata, that's like the same color as your top, and I love to put that over like a small dress because it's like really oversized. So giving this shape, so I would always recommend like kind of feeling into the hourglass with like belts, which we'll get into in a second, and creating long lines. Like we want to make our legs look long. We want to create these like lines down the body. And that helps us to draw attention up from up to down. I'm sure you've heard people say like, don't wear vertical stripes. I'm not like so big on that, those kind of like pattern rules, but obviously horizontal stripes are more flattering because it brings the eye down. Okay. So that is sort of the idea of dressing your body, and asking yourself when you get dressed is like, where's the structure? You know, obviously wearing a sweatsuit, no structure in a sweatsuit. I live in my sweatsuit after 8 p.m. Full disclosure, it's cold. But even that, I have like my cool sweaters and my cool sweatpants. So a lot of times in this situation, rolling some sleeves, adding a belt, or tucking your shirt in an interesting way can really add a lot of personality and structure to your outfit. You can see this woman has her sleeves rolled up. She has her sleeves rolled up. Very rarely do I wear a long sleeve shirt and not roll the sleeves up. Just gives it more. That's what styling is. When you're styling something, you're taking it as it is and altering it so that it looks better. Okay. So next up, playing with color. I love color. There was like a time in my life where I was lying to myself and saying I wear a lot of black, but as you can see, my closet behind me, very, very colorful, very, very colorful. So playing with color is medicine. It is pure medicine. If you want to turn your day around, put on some neon. Am I right, Pilar? You know, so all of these examples here in the photos are different ways of playing with color. I highly recommend you do, you find your color palette. So based on, if you want it, I'm like, oh, how do I drop it in the group? There's like a link you can do, and you just take a picture of your eye, a picture of your skin color, and a picture of your hair, and it's going to tell you if you're a cool autumn or soft winter or any of these things, and it's going to tell you what colors look best on you. So, for example, this more neutral toned outfit here, only going to look good on certain skin tones. I'm really, really hesitant around beige. I just generally don't like beige. But if it is the right color for your skin tone, it works, okay? So for me, like a light beige color looks best on dark skinned people, and colors like dark chocolate brown look best on lighter skinned people because of the contrast. So what I try to avoid at all costs is looking like you're naked. For me, this is a really bad look. Like, don't wear a nude skin tone bodysuit. Whatever Kim Kardashian's doing, do the opposite. Please, God, if I could just erase the impact that she's had on women's body images, I would love to do that. But anyway, so there's neutral palettes, okay? And I find a lot of people gravitate toward neutral palettes when they want to fit in. Not to say there's anything wrong with just wearing like a neutral palettes. I love olive green. I love, you know, natural colors. But if you're just doing that so you disappear, not the vibe. You see this wonderful, stylish older woman in her pastel. Pastel is amazing. And find your color palette and know that what ones work for you. We have jewel tone over here. So this is jewel tones, are like these bold colors like amethyst, emerald, ruby, all these like really rich colors. And generally, if this is your color palette with the pastels, this is not. Okay, so what we're doing by finding our color is just what literally makes our skin glow, what makes our eyes pop. You don't have to follow all the rules, but knowing what looks best on you will change the game for you. When you go to buy a shirt, instead of buying one in the wrong color, you buy one in the right color, and then you feel better in it. So highly recommend. I also love bold moves like this amazing dress here that this woman's wearing, really like African vibes, just really like going for it. There's this aspect, and neon tends to be this way. Neon doesn't really work with most people's color palettes, but it's a bold color. It's like a pattern interrupt. You're like, boom, like I am here. For example, red is not on in my color palette. But when I wear red, I feel so powerful because I'm purposefully breaking that rule. I'm purposefully wearing red and being like, boom, I'm here today. I'm here, bitches, let's go. And this little square, this little mosaic over here is all my brand colors. So neon, orange, purple, and playing with the palettes that make you feel alive. That's why I've chosen these colors. For a little while I was like, do I use black and gold? They say it looks luxurious. And I was like, hell no. I will use all the colors that I love. And it's worked so well. It's way more fun. I love it. So playing with color, knowing the rules so you can break the rules here is going to be a big one. So if you want to find your color palette, just look it up online. You can easily find a little app that's going to show you. All right, up next, mixing patterns. This one takes a little bit of practice, not for the faint of heart. But, another thing about color that I didn't put an example of is wearing monochrome is a really powerful statement. So if you're wearing like all white or all red or all black or all cream, that is a really powerful way to make a statement, and it creates like a long, elegant line. Actually, hang on, let me go back because we'll stay on the color for one more second. So, something to think about is that many really great looks use only 2 to 3 colors. So you're going to see this woman here wearing blue. She's got emerald green, cobalt blue, and purple. Those are her 3 colors. She's kept her shoes at black and her purse is black to neutralize how powerful her color palette is. So you could do, and maximalist, a fashion maximalist will say, add crazy shoes too, add crazy purse too. Of course you can do that. But if you wanted to keep the outfit looking more chic, more elegant, then we go with like a more muted boot. If you want to go with making a statement, wear freaking yellow boots with that. I don't care. Do whatever crazy shit you want to do. But know that I'm just kind of trying to give you some guidelines so that there is some rules. It's always about knowing the rules to break the rules. Okay. So also another way to work with color is just having one statement color piece. So maybe you have like a dark green outfit on, right? And then you use gold shoes and a gold purse to like really make that pop. Or you're wearing all black and you bring a red purse, This is how you are using like one item and like keeping everything else kind of neutral or like more muted, and then boom, pop of color, neon pink purse, something like that. So all these different ways to work with color. Color is therapy. Color is medicine. We're in House of Icon. We'll talk more about chakras and different things like that, but we know there is, different colors associated with different moods, with different parts of our being, if we're thinking about the energy centers. So you can play with all of that. You get to play with all of that. Okay. Fashion should be fun. Okay, back to pattern mixing. I'm not going to spend too long here because it is really a skill. And when it works, it works. If you want to play with this and you don't really know where to start with leopard print. Leopard print goes with everything. So you can mix leopard print with plaid, just like this woman, and it looks amazing. You can mix leopard print with a floral. If you're going to mix florals, I would say use a smaller floral. You can mix leopard print with polka dots, with stripes, all kinds of things, okay? So that's the beginner. These are more advanced versions of mixing patterns, okay? And that's why it's, a high fashion editorial photo. But what we like to do, the general rule here, is playing with scale. So we don't want 2 giant patterns that you're mixing. You want a smaller pattern and a bigger pattern. So as you can see here, this woman has these like green striped pants. They're much more subtle. And then, that's like a smaller pattern. And then we have this amazing tropical print on top. Here we have this like houndstooth up top, and then we have this really wild, I'm not sure what this pattern is. It's like an abstract pattern on the skirt. This woman here with the leopard print, I'm sure she also has a button-down shirt on that has another pattern. So you can get really crazy with this, and when it works, it really, really works. It looks super high-end, and when it doesn't, it doesn't. So you can practice playing with it. A small polka dot can mix with almost anything. A thin stripe can mix with almost anything. Leopard print, safe. So just wanted to introduce, that's a really fun way to play and to be bold. And obviously super important to stay in the same color palette. So we're not mixing crazy. If these two women here, that would look really crazy if they were in two different color palettes. It wouldn't work. Here we have this woman with two different kinds of stripe. So she's not necessarily mixing types of pattern. She's mixing two different kinds of stripe. Her shoes at the end tie everything in together in the red, bringing the red back down. Okay. Questions, comments? Pilar, you have anything to say about pattern mixing? Good.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at pattern mixing the last week because I have an event that is gonna around this specifically, and this is where I'm stepping into right now, like where my curiosity has been is going right now with the pattern mixing. Like, but
Amazing.
like, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of playing with it. Um, so yeah, that the two biggest tips for doing this is same color palette and then pairing a bigger and a smaller pattern together. And then just playing and seeing what works. Trying things on in your closet and being okay if it doesn't work, try something else, you know? I mean, I have a lot of patterned clothes actually, and I definitely play with mixing them a lot. Like for me, leopard print is always, always, always. I jokingly say to my friends, leopard print is my favorite neutral. I'm like, why does it go with everything? Just why. But little cute ways to do it are like a polka dot scarf or like, you know what I mean? They can mix. Yeah, go ahead, Andrea.
I gotta go, sweetie.
Okay.
I had back-to-back calls here this
Okay.
morning. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
I,
All right.
I love this. This is
I love you.
fascinating.
Yes. I love you so much.
I love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. And next up, and maybe you've been with this as well, Pilar, but the power of the third piece. So the idea is you're adding one piece of interest to create a lot more contrast. So you can look at this outfit here, and there's, you know, this outfit would look nice if it was just the white top and the black bottom, but adding this crazy structural third piece changes the whole game. These ones, it's the jackets. So you're adding a jacket to create more visual interest. And I love this. I love this. This is one of the first like fashion lessons that I learned, and it can take your outfit from looking, you can add like a little vest or, you know what I mean? It can just be from being like so standard to really being a wow. So that one's not so complicated. It's just adding one extra piece. And then last but not least, belts. The stylist's best friend. The secret weapon of structure, of silhouette, of like creating the body that you want. It's an easy upgrade. So we're always defining the waist and breaking the outfit up and then adding intention. So I love the example of this, just plain white t-shirt and loose jeans, and then boom, epic leather belt and some nice leather shoes. Takes it a very, very almost oversimplified outfit and adds huge wow factor. We've got this more like blazer, not necessarily a normal thing to do to belt over a blazer, but it looks great. Creates a waistline, and then she's able to wear this really voluminous long skirt with a blazer and still have a little waist. Again, this one here I really liked because we're taking this really baggy shirt and then bringing it in at the waist. So like you can see this is like some kind of menswear shirt, really, really baggy. Also really useful if you love to do vintage styling, because when you're vintage shopping, you just find what you find. And it's not about sizing it to the model. So these are ways to really amp up the how it's being. And I love it in this more chic, more formal way too on the edge here. This one with the really, again, we're creating this silhouette of like a really small top and then this really voluminous bottom. The belt is the midpoint of that. So you can use belts to do so much things. If you can go from looking like you just threw some outfit on to looking like you have an entirely styled outfit. Okay. So a couple final pieces of advice are the fit rule. So fit matters more than price. If it fits right, it makes you look elevated. Period. If it doesn't fit right, even if it's expensive, it doesn't look It's not going to look right. You can modify things by rolling up sleeves, rolling up pant legs, adding belts, adding corsets, all these different things for sure. But just overall, buy things that fit well, that are nicely structured. Um, I may have a preference to buy almost everything used. I think my wardrobe is probably about 85% thrifted, consigned, or vintage. I find better quality pieces for a better price, and just things are more interesting. I don't feel inspired to go into like mall stores or anything like that. I find I like the treasure hunt. Some people don't. So finding how you like to buy things also is a something to think about. Like, do you like to online shop? Do you like to go to boutiques? Do you like to go to the mall? You know, and maybe switching it up. All right, so again, I'll reemphasize little things that make a huge difference. Rolling up the sleeves, half tucking in shirts, or finding out cool ways to do shirts, layering necklaces, accessories are your best friend. You know, pushing up the blazer sleeves, just these little things. You know, opening the collar more, having it at the right spot. And I love cuffing my jeans, like cuffing the pants. Um, and it gives this like effortless energy, you know, sleeves rolled up, you know, this really effortless energy. And that's what I think makes people look stylish, is this like aspect of effortlessness. When it's too constructed, it looks like really what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember, the word is not here. But the effortlessness is for me in those little details of like rolling up the sleeves and finding those signature pieces as well for you that make you feel really good. Some people's signature pieces are a red lip. Some people's signature things, I'm an earring girl through and through. I always have big earrings on. That's my signature. Could be vintage scars, big earrings, or sorry, big glasses, different things like that. And maybe that's something that you can think of as like your fashion comfort zone, your go-to thing, something that you're known for. All right. So that helps it to become part of your identity. If you like have this classic red lip and you're doing that in all of your branding and all of your work stuff, then people start to know you and associate that with you. So, any questions here as we wrap up this styling piece? Coming into the end here, really near the end. And yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about House of Icon, because this is for me, this big, beautiful creature that I'm creating. It's like this like boutique coaching experience. That's what I like to call it. Let's see if my screen share works. So this is you can see that, Pilar? House of Icon. Okay, so this idea behind this creation for me is truly helping women to step into their most iconic status so that they can lead in a good way and serve in a good way and feel super powerful. And my past work doing You're a Badass, it was a group container that I was leading for many years. It was really focused on confidence. And this one is even more of a level up from that. It's not even just about confidence. It's like, who are you and who are you meant to be in the world? So these are the pillars of it. This is a 6-month program where every 2 months we're going to shift the focus. So the first pillar here at the top, identity alchemy. So we get into identity work, and we are going to go deeper like we did today. That was like a little exercise. We're going to go a little bit deeper into that identity formation right from the get-go. In this first phase 2, we're going to talk about nervous system regulation. Always right at the beginning. I want it to be really grounded in psychology and in science for you, this first one. And then the second month of this, we're going to go into more archetype work. We're going to talk about goddesses. We're going to talk about embodying your queen energy. So kind of piecing this together from psychology, understanding of psychology, understanding of more of the spiritual tenets of it, and then also having a really regulated nervous system. That prepares us to shift into this embodied magnetism part, which is the styling part. This is the part where we really focus on creativity and self-expression, unlocking things in the sacral chakra so that you feel more sensual, more in your feminine. And we're going to talk here about masculine feminine essence, because for me, what I see as women are rising in the world, we are becoming more masculine. And that's not the idea. We are stepping into this masculine role as I got this independent woman, this, that, and the other thing. And it worked for a little while. And what I found in my own experience of life is that it started to feel stale. I started to feel cold and closed. And that's not how I wanted to live my life. And I truly believe that when women who are leaders are embodied in their femininity, they lead different. They're not just putting on a suit and pretending they're men and competing with the men. They're leading different, with compassion, with more softness, with a better understanding of what the world actually needs, with that real nurturing experience of leadership. So the idea here is we're going to focus on learning about the masculine and feminine, learning about our sacral chakra, and then really getting into style. The styling work will come here after the identity work is locked in. And then finally, the sacred leadership piece. The last 2 months are a leadership immersion. So I'm going to teach some of it, and I will bring in a guest speaker also to teach about feminine leadership. So I want this to be something where every single woman walks away from this experience with feeling really strong in who they are, knowing how to dress themselves and present themselves to the outside world. I should have mentioned in embodied magnetism, we also do body language coaching. All of that stuff is going to be in there in that embodiment piece. So you know who you are, you really represent who you are, and then you have the leadership tools to go into the world and make impact. And that's really the dream for me for this House of Icon experience. I want it to feel like a boutique, fashion forward experience where you're stepping into that magnetic feminine version of yourself, attracting the aligned things with a regulated nervous system. The archetype work is super fun. This is designed to bring you into your queen era. Okay, so these are the month breakdown here. So I'm actually going to update this a little bit. And there's also the option to add on a business package. So if you want to do branding, and I have an amazing website girl, I have an amazing branding women. So you can add this like entrepreneur level on top. This experience will be about maximum 10 women. I'm thinking about 8. I have 4 women in already for this container. So the calls will be a teaching call a month and a practice call a month. So 2 calls. They're going to be all preset. So the teaching call will be one Friday a month, and there will be a Tuesday a month that will be the practice. So we're actually taking the lessons, intellectualizing them, and then putting them into practice. So obviously with the nervous system regulation piece, pranayama is going to be the practice. I love pranayama. It's a huge part of what I teach, the yogic part of the yogic breath work. This tool has changed my life. So there'll be access to tons of those. When you have access to the portal inside my website, you'll have access to tons of resources, other workshops that I've created from everything from working with your cycle to Qigong to how to buy Bitcoin. I'm talking like I've got all these amazing workshops that are ready to go. Pranayama resources, there's going to be at least 30 or 35 practices in there that are just ready to go, a few yoga practices as well. So resources to support you. And then honestly, a huge part of what I do and always is sisterhood. What I notice is that so many women are lacking sisterhood, or maybe you have really good friends in your circle, but they don't match where you're at spiritually. You don't feel comfortable to talk about your deepest things around them because you don't know if they're going to get it. This is a room where the women get it. This piece of sisterhood, this healing around the feminine aspects is everything. And if that's the only thing that comes from this, if you leave with slightly better style and friends for life, hell yeah. But really, it's going to be a lot more than that. And there's a lot of elements to this. So the aspects that we're adding are nervous system regulation, masculine and feminine dynamics, body language coaching, identity work, sacral and spiritual basis for your living, and then leadership immersion. Because I want you to be able to walk away from this and be really deeply in service. So that's it. That is the House of Icon. All these little elements come together to create a more powerful version of yourself, to really be able to stand in the greatness of who you are, of why your soul came back on earth now, and what how you can go about in the best way possible with that information. And up until now I've been mostly doing spiritual guidance, so I love to put a little bit of the woo in, but this is really about bringing it into the 3D and activating that part of you that is just like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to be seen. So we know the year of the horse this year, we just came in. A huge part of the theme of this year is identity and visibility. So we're at the perfect time to be entering into this kind of work. So that is House of Icon, and I'm so excited to present this to you because I've been working on it for a while, making sure it feels super sexy. Do you have any questions, Pilar?
I do, but I would like to speak with you
Yeah,
privately.
perfect. Okay, we can do that. Actually, I can stop recording and we can just talk. You want to do that? Okay, so closing this
Are we the
out.
only ones? Oh,
Yeah,
are
all
we
the
the
other
only ones?
ladies.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yes, I went over time, so I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so closing
Let
this
me
up for
let me
anybody
close the door.
watching,
Yeah,
closing this
sorry, let
up.
me close the door real quick. Sorry, my dog.
Okay, just closing this up for anybody watching in right now, from watching the replay. If you want to talk about House of Icon, please schedule a call with me and we can talk. You can ask all the questions that you want. This is a room to be in. This is a room of women who are change makers, who are like really intent on doing this work to become the best version of themselves. And that excites me. That excites me because then we get to be in our true feminine essence and be in our service in the highest way. So, blessings and aho to everybody, sending you so much love and all the good things and all the good outfits.